Shalom, first and foremost, I'd like to give all praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rukakadash. Double honors to the elders and apostles of Great Millstone who are teaching this truth and sincerity. And a shout out to Yakims out there in four quarters of the earth proclaiming this truth. Rocket the Yahweh, Rocket the Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rukakadash, Rocket Thumb. So, family of the word is coming. Make no mistake about it, not long after Julian Assange, my channel itself received a copyright strike. Not for anything recent that I did. Nah, for something that's really old news. And that's just it, though. Everybody knows that Toys R Us, it's on its way, it's gone. That's old news. Okay, that's the one I got the copyright strike for. Not for anything recent that I posted, such as the fact that the Golan Heights, that Esau's flipped the coin saying that Syria and Iran are the terrorists. Nah, I didn't get the copyright strike for that, even though I used news footage. I use a lot of news footage, but it ain't for those reasons. Now, it's just because of the fact that I was talking about the retail apocalypse last year, which kicked off a series of events leading to the downsizing of Sears and Kmart to where there's less than 100 in the whole country now. And then you got, this year, retail apocalypse, Payless Shoe Source is completely out. Even the Gap and Foot Locker and a whole bunch of them are, on their way out, man. Even, well, we know Shopko and Ready is out. But nonetheless, though, not any of those videos now, just the other ones. So we know a famine of the word is coming, but there's also a famine in the land. As many are not paying attention to it, but they have purposely destroyed the crops for all the preppers, how we have stated on numerous occasions that it's one thing to be prepared, you and your family, but it's another to go out of your way excessive prepping because the government's just going to take from you or it's just going to completely destroy it. And that's why he's manufactured the storms. Look at the weather today. Manufactured storms, which they've also used against Persia because the flooding that happened in Persia, that was no mistake, man. Esau has been using the weather machines because he uses heart. They give you a preemptive of that in the Superman 3 show, the movie that came out years ago with Richard Pryor, when he, as Gus Gorman, had hacked into the system and destroyed the crops in Colombia. Very similar to what Esau did over here in Nebraska, And that's just simply put, he doesn't want, anybody prepared for this because most of all, he is just getting it ready for the army after next, the UN. And part of that UN is Russia, and all these other foreign troops will be coming over here and taking over this place. Pretty much as Negan puts it, former villain and Walking Dead puts it, he's just getting it ready for him. All this prepping and all that, you were just getting it ready for the invaders. Which actually, in many ways, though, isn't this how so-called America, Babylon the Great, was founded anyways? Was by seizing and taking over. Same way it will be conquered. Same way as ancient Babylon was conquered. Nebuchadnezzar and the rest were partying, and then the Persian army came over by night and took over. Well, Persia is aligned with the modern-day Medes, so the Medes and the Persians will take over because they do have a defense system, and and their men are trained to fight. Unlike everybody over here is effeminate, If you haven't been watching the latest videos out of GMS Great Waters 3, I suggest you take a look at some of them because, which is actually just forwarding Dave Hodges the common sense, about how these, boys are more effeminate. They can't even run a race like they used to be able to. Remember in the 80s, man, U.S. was on top of everything. Not no more. No, man, because they put too many GMOs, hormones in the foods and all that, so it's making everybody effeminate. These bodies are breaking down. And most people, if you thought that computers or video games were too much in the 80s, man, look at 20 to 40 years after that, man. Now everybody's pretty much hooked on them, and I'll admit that the gaming is great, but that takes away from the physical, so people aren't getting physically fit. They ain't ready for what's about to happen. And all these bread and circuses was to keep everybody docile. but just keep everybody weak, so that way the army after next would take over, because this was all purpose. So I'm going to read out of Micah chapter 1, starting in verse 2, as we know, though, that 2/3 of our people are caught up in these snares set up by Esau. Esau put these snares up here on purpose to break down everybody, keep them in that Gentile, docile state of mind. Hear, all ye people, hearken, O earth, and all therein, and let the Lord thy power be witness against you. The Lord thy power from his temple. For behold, the Most High cometh forth out of his place, and will come down and tread upon the high places of the earth. And again, that's going to happen. And by way, first, these Edomites will be fighting each other in the third woe that's coming quickly, thermonuclear war. And then the Most High himself will be coming on the flying roll, as described in Zechariah. And the mountains shall be molten under him, and the valleys shall be cleft, as wax before the fire, and as the waters that are poured down a steep place. And again, pretty much this place is going to be destroyed by a firmament heat, by way of thermonuclear war, which all the nations are getting ready to destroy this place, because they're tired of it. Pretty much all of these things are happening. But why did we end up here anyways? It's because we transgressed against the law, so we were brought into captivity by our greatest enemy out of all, Esau, Edom, these so-called white people. For the transgression of Jacob is all of this. For the sins of the house of Yashar'allah, which is the transgression of Jacob, which is going against the law, statutes, and commandments. That's why when we were born again, we were born in a Gentile state of mind, not knowing these laws or commandments. You were raised so-called American, not knowing anything about any laws. You weren't taught the Bible. You were taught Christianity, which has nothing to do with the Bible. What is the transgression of Jacob? Is it not Samaria? And what are the high places of Yahweh? Are they not Jerusalem? Therefore I will make Samaria as a heap of the field, and as plantings of a vineyard, and I will pour down the stones thereof in the valley, and I will discover the foundations thereof. Again, pretty much he's calling out his elect. Those that are meant to get this are getting this, and those that aren't meant to get this are meant to buck up against it and just pretty much be surprised. And all the graven images thereof shall be beaten to pieces, and all the hearers thereof shall be burned with the fire. And what's that talking about? Well, this whole place of Babylon the Great is nothing but idolatry. There's idols everywhere, and all this is going to be cast down. We're casting it down now, verbally, letting you know that the image of Caesar Borgia is not the true biblical image of the Most High. Neither all these angels. That angels don't look like that at all. That Esau, Edom used iconoclasm to give you that image, to make them all effeminate, and that this effeminate stuff, man, is going to be what kills you. And all the idols thereof I will lay desolate, for she has gathered it out of the hire of a harlot. That's another nickname for this place, is the harlot, the great whore, the whore, Babylon the Great. And they shall return to the hire of a harlot. Therefore I will wail and howl, I will go stripped and naked, I will make a wailing like the dragons, and the mourning as the owls. Because once this place is laid waste, ain't nothing going to be dwelling here. The owls will be howling over it, because ain't nothing but death all around, death and destruction, by way of the nuclear missiles and the devastation of what it leaves behind. This will be a forever burnt up place, nothing but desert and desolation. For her wound is incurable, for it cometh unto Yahweh. He is come into the gate of my people, even to Jerusalem. Which that's talking about the northern and southern kingdom. All these delicacies learned over here, it's all going to be brought down. It's going to be destroyed by the way of thermonuclear war. And yeah, our people are going to be caught up with that, because of what they've learned from Esau. Declare ye not at Gath, weep ye not at all. In the house of Apra, roll thyself in the dust. Pass ye away the inhabitant of Saphir, having the shame naked. The inhabitant of Zanan came not forth in the morning of Beth Azal. He shall receive of you his standing. And again, pretty much, though, what's going to happen is that all the delicacies of this place is being brought to a low, and all these nations, as I had stated before, the 17 out of the 18 table of nations, as found in Genesis, they all hate one place, Esau, Edom, because everything that Esau, Edom has gathered has been by fuckery, by his so-called delicacies, his diplomacies, and they're sick of it, you know. Esau established a base on every 4 quarters of the earth and keep it not at his house. You don't see him rallying trying to get Petra back, which is Mount Seir. No, man, he's trying to take and covet every land, which is what he's been doing for a very, very long time. And most of all, though, all of his delicacies and all that are being found out, and the average Edomite, especially over here, is all effeminate. They're going to get their ass kicked by a woman, man. Look at how tough Ronda Rousey is versus your average Edomite. You know, Ronda Rousey, you know, that's a fine example because of the fact that, you know, you've seen her throw bigger wrestlers like Kurt Angle over her, whether you watch it or not. But what I'm saying, though, is that the women are much more stronger than the men. What's happening with that? Because of all the delicacies, the wine of the whore, Babylon the Great. Now the women are over men. They shall be like God. And so that's what's happening. They've gotten a taste of that. But all this is coming to its head. Now see, Esau's lived deliciously, and the women, they have definitely lived deliciously with that. But all that's being turned. Now you're starting to see, you know, all these other places come out, and you're starting to see all these skin irritations and all that from their makeup and everything else. You know, they are now starting to catch the fallacies of everything. Most of all, though, their high place is now falling down. And this is the high place of idolatry, you know, because usually when you hear the term angel, you're thinking of a woman. And that's not how it is. That's not the true images. But you see all these idolatry images and all that is being brought to a low, and that's why we're coming out here and declaring this. Esau's butthurt. He's going to put copyright strikes on everything. Eventually going to shut this thing down, either by way of EMP or just hitting the kill switch entirely, or just changing the rules. Kind of like the, oh, you must have 1,000 subscribers in order to go live. Well, I never had 1,000 subscribers, so I could never go live. And when I tried to go live, you know, especially if you have an older phone, it doesn't really work good unless you like hearing every word skipped, you know, because he messes with the feed. Been doing that for the longest. So, you know, a lot of things I do is pre-recorded anyways, because the message is what's more important. But nonetheless, though, you know, all these things, you know, he could try to shut it up, but it has spread like wildfire. And for all that, hope this has been edifying. Barak the Yahweh, Barak the Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakal Brakatum. Death to America and death to you 2/3. This place is going out very shortly.